What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GSD Podcast. I am so excited about our episode today. We have a fun conversation talking about an agency specifically that's moving forward, doing some amazing things. Our guest today is the new Executive Director of OMMA, or the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority, Adria Berry. Adria, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, right on.
Adria, you've been here for about 5 months and so much innovation crammed into just a short amount of time. So you knew right when you started the job where you wanted to go, and I think still developing that, right? So what are some of the biggest projects you have on your plate right now?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the reasons I said yes to this job was because there is so much opportunity for innovation. Mm-hmm. It's one of those state agencies that's young, so there's opportunity to improve around every corner. When I came in, there were a lot of projects in the works, and so, I cannot take credit for things that have been in the works. I came in, though, and empowered people to keep thinking innovatively.
Yep.
That's what I want to encourage in our staff. It's just there really is no box. Think outside the box.
I love
Let's
that.
figure out how we can properly regulate this young industry in Oklahoma, and we don't have to be stuck inside any preconceived notions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that she also used the word empowered.
Yes.
You think about starting, and so many directors would say, like, how do I make this mine? Or, what do I need to divvy up? But you said, I want to empower the staff, and relatively like a limited amount of staff, right? So you're really trying to figure out with these resources that we have, like, where can we go? Because as a young agency, there's still a lot of runway forward to get to those paths. So I think some legislative objectives within the next year. Everyone's been talking about that, some staffing stuff. So let's get into the weeds, so to speak, and see where we go.
Got him.
Sure, yeah. Well, yes, I came in and we had some great directors already on staff, directors of departments that have stayed on staff and continued to work really hard because they care about OMMA. And so I'm grateful to have them. And recently we just launched a brand new licensing software, actually just this week. And it's going to create such a better environment for our licensees, but also for our employees on the backside. So our licensing department has been working around the clock to get this launch off the ground.
Love that.
Probably a really big lift.
Very, very big lift. So our licensing department, data department, and then our call center. Our call center is truly that first layer.
Yes.
People call in with every question you can think of. And so they extended their hours this week. They are working so hard. And I know by the end of this week, they are going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for their commitment to OMMA.
So the call center, are they receiving calls from both the customer and also the provider and the grower? Or how does that work exactly? Do you guys interface with all three of those audiences?
Yeah, we interface with all of our licensees,
Mm-hmm.
so that's patient licensees, and then the commercial licensees, so growers, dispensaries, processors, and then we have a few other, waste management and that kind of thing. But generally speaking, they're getting calls from patient licensees and commercial licensees on a daily basis with questions about how to renew, or if there's a problem as they're trying to submit their application. Our call center helps troubleshoot and get that figured out with them.
Really have to be like subject matter experts to be able to triage that situation, figure out where they need to go, and be as helpful as you can. We talk all the time about state services are really just about providing something to people who don't know how to get where they want to go. And in this case, when you're dealing with something medicinal, it's probably people who are just like, I need this now. So you guys are acting with agility. You're also being able to say, like, hey, I know what the needs are currently, and expand that into the future. So what do you think that future looks like?
It's a great question. So with this industry, we are different than any other state. Our medical marijuana program is completely different. I mean, we have almost 400,000 patient licensees in Oklahoma. So moving forward, we want to continue focusing on that patient safety aspect, make sure that any product you find in a dispensary has been properly tested and that patients can trust that it is safe for them to use. Due to the quick beginning of this program.
That state question.
Yes, yeah. State question 788. A lot of things were just very reactive the first 3 years. And so we have got to be proactive and make sure that we're protecting the patients, protecting Oklahomans in general, and just looking out for the health and safety.
So I love that. And so specifically OMES is kind of, you see the growth stage of what OMES was, right? And moving forward, something that Director Harper's kind of brought under his leadership over the last year and a half or so was the development of new key partnerships with agencies, kind of changing that mindset of providing that service. Before we started recording, you talked about building relationships with other agencies and how previously over the last 3 years that really wasn't possible, but that's been an initiative you've brought to the table. Tell us about that. What key partnerships are you developing? How is that making an impact on your team? And then ultimately for the end consumer, how does that impact them?
You know what, Caden? It's one of the most exciting things to me going on right now.
Yeah.
When I first came in, I kind of brainstormed, and my whiteboard in my office just had all the agencies I could think of that we needed to be in touch with.
Yes.
And I realized really quickly that we needed to actually hire some people to do this, just to work with these agencies. And so we hired basically an agency liaison type person, and he has been amazing. He goes to like the water board meetings. He meets with the Rural Water Association. He meets with the Department of Ag. And so what he's doing right now is collecting all of their ideas about how we can work together, and then we're working on plans to implement those ideas. So it's exciting because I see that there is a path forward. There is no reason for us to stay siloed because so many other state agencies touch the marijuana industry in some way.
Right.
DEQ on the environmental piece and water piece and the electric co-ops. So we're just building relationships across the board and trying to be the best partners we can be. And, a lot of times it's just them being angry, and that's fine. They haven't had anyone to listen to them for 3 years.
Absolutely.
So we're like, tell us everything you're upset about, and then let's problem solve. And that's where we are right now.
You put it in context. So when you talk about ag specifically, and these are some of the issues being raised at the legislature right now, it's, I need this land for farming, or, this has been family land for a long time. And then also new growers are trying to bring in a new product like medical marijuana. And so not having those conversations probably caused the tension before, but it's encouraging to know that people are having that dialogue now, because it's going to create outcomes in the long run. I mean, if you don't have those conversations, how are you expected to move forward?
Right. So much is just about building the relationships. Yeah. I mean, it's truly about that, building relationships. Law enforcement is another piece that we are making sure to strengthen our relationship with the Bureau of Narcotics first. They are the state level,
right?
But then the county sheriffs across the state, we've really opened up a lot more of a conversation with them and how we can help them understand what it is they're looking for. Because, this was a surprise for so many people after 788 passed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No one was truly ready. So we are really excited. We have a law enforcement liaison. He is a retired trooper. He's awesome, and he's getting out there to help just have all those conversations with law enforcement across the state to see how we can help and how we can work together.
Do you think a lot of that focuses around compliance? You've seen the headlines everybody has, big seizures going on now more than ever before, but ultimately, if that's happening, it's because steps weren't followed with you all or with OBN to obtain those licenses, and sometimes it's just making sure the product is safe. So you all are also adding some compliance officers under OMMA. What does that look like?
Yes, and so we are adding compliance inspectors and then also law enforcement investigators. So we have two separate paths. Our compliance inspectors go out and make sure that our licensees are following our rules and regulations. So they have a checklist. They go into dispensaries, grows, processors, make sure that all of our rules are being followed. A lot of their role is just to educate, because many of these businesses have never seen someone from OMMA before. So they answer questions. The goal is to help these businesses get into compliance. So we give them information about the rules and regulations. We send them a letter that lets them know exactly which rules they may have broken and how they can fix it. But on the other end of that, if there is a obvious criminal activity going on, that's where our investigative staff comes in. That's a staff of law enforcement officers. We have about 8, I think, on staff right now, and they are the ones that can go in and do the actual criminal investigation and bring in OBN if we need to take criminal action.
So they actually escalate it up if needed. Really? Okay,
Yes.
so they're that first line of defense, and then they do that monitoring almost.
Yes.
Can we
That's
talk
awesome.
about the scale, though, of dispensaries within Oklahoma? Because I really do feel like when this first happened, there were more dispensaries like on every corner than there were even 7-Elevens, which was the
Yes.
joke. Like in
Yeah.
Oklahoma, you could pretty much drive anywhere and you'd find one. So what does that look like now comparatively to other states in the region? You know, are we ahead in that space? Are we leveling off? Or do we have a clear outlook?
Our program, like I said, was set up so differently. It's hard to compare to other states. We had no limit on the number of licenses that OMMA could grant.
Do other states?
Yes.
Really? Okay,
Yes.
so that's where in other states, even in like Colorado or places like that are more so originally known, that kind of originally got this going, they have those limitations in place,
Yeah.
whereas we don't.
Right.
I think someone labeled it like free market cannabis was basically
right.
what Oklahoma's program is versus like what other states had done.
That's interesting.
It truly is the most free market industry in Oklahoma right now. What we're all watching is the free market
That's
at
right.
work.
It will do what it does.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yeah. So there are still many, many dispensaries, and it truly is just a business issue. If they can, find enough customers to keep themselves in
Right.
business, they'll stay. And if not, they may have to go, or they may not stay in business. And so that's what we're watching right now. I don't know when the market will even out. Everyone kind of has ideas, but I think we have a little ways to go.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had these conversations before because there are so many locations, and inevitably when that happens is the free market will rein that in and probably back down on the number of locations eventually.
Right.
We just don't know what the timeline is there. Is that correct?
Right.
Gotcha.
There's no way to know. And when you think about 400,000 patients across the state,
Right.
Dispensary owners just have to make sure that there are enough patients in their area to keep their businesses afloat.
Gotcha. Okay.
I also think about staffing. That's been the other thing, with the server industry. I think it was Representative Osborne that had said, okay, so some of that staffing has gone to your industry. Have you seen that influx, or are there metrics around that? I mean, really, I think data collection will be another big piece that's coming in the future. So even if not that, tracking is going to be so important. Is that one of your initiatives?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have heard Commissioner Osborne talking about that, but we don't have the metrics on it just yet. And I don't know how to measure it at this point, but what we are doing is working with the legislature to put a program in place where we actually do a sort of occupational license for folks that work at dispensaries. They call themselves budtenders. I don't know if you knew that. So
I did not know
yeah,
that. Yeah.
so there's we've been exploring some budtender licensing programs. So that way it's very similar to maybe like a pharmacy tech. Someone who has a level of licensing and expertise in what they're doing.
Right.
But that would also help us track who is working in dispensaries across the state. We'd also like to look into badging at other facilities, grows and processors, so that we have more information on the actual numbers of employees at our licensees across the state. Because right now we really don't have that
Well, and I
information.
don't think bud tending is far-fetched whenever you look at bartending as something that's licensed through ABLE. So being able to, you just have to put it in your right frame of mind. Like, it might seem new, but this is really something we've done in other industries. So that's just like another advancement. I think it's really smart to take those things under advisement and just see where do we go, how do we track this. But I mean, all good things. It's we even talked about you all being nestled within OSDH right now, so the health department or the Department of Health. I always try to get that one right. What does that look like in the future? Are you guys like seeing growth? You're about to go into your own new building. I mean, so many new things popping up.
Right. Yes. The state question put us within the Department of Health, and the Department of Health had 60 days to set up this new industry. So it was, crazy. But right now, we know that the legislature is looking at potentially making OMMA a standalone agency. There is a bill out there that Pro Tem Greg Treat filed, so we will be working with him however he needs our help on that.
It's Caden's good friend.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Good guy.
So we're willing to do whatever the legislature thinks is the best for OMMA. I know that Majority Floor Leader Eccles in the House has also really wanted that idea to get off the ground for the past few years. So we're looking forward to working with them. But honestly, right now, things are the relationship with Interim Commissioner Reed at the Health
helm?
Department of Health has been great. He's fantastic, and he
was just on the show too, so I think
awesome.
people know that. Yeah, he's just got good leadership.
So good, and he has empowered me to do what I need to do to help OMMA be the best it can be.
That's
and so I
awesome.
don't feel like I have any complaints about the current state of our relationship.
You're like,
there.
I'm getting stuff done. These are my blinders. Like, if that happens, great, but I'm going to do me regardless.
Yes, I love this. Get stuff done.
Yeah, that's
so
us.
Steve
That's us.
Harp's motto that's
Love it.
ingrained in everyone. We just say hashtag GSD now.
That's right.
It's kind of our branding. But I mean, do you guys have something internal similarly?
You know, we need to work on that. But no, we do have an internal newsletter for our employees that I love. Kelsey, our awesome director of comms, came up with it, and it's called Inside Oklahoma. So
That is
creative.
so clever.
Right?
Yes.
We are making sure, well, let me talk about our employees. In August, when I started, we had just under 100 employees to help regulate a massive, massive industry.
Right, yeah.
And right now, as of today, we have about 180. So in general, growing government is not a hot topic, you know?
No.
It's not our favorite thing, but this is one of those necessities.
Right.
I mean, nobody saw 788 coming 4 years ago. And so the growth at OMMA is absolutely necessary just to be able to regulate and keep a handle on
Well, you look at
what
it
we're
as
mandated to do.
protection of citizens, and
Absolutely.
right. And, I mean, a lot of conversation around growth of government. I mean, nobody questions that we need more highway patrolmen or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because they're there to protect Oklahoma. That's a core function of government, is to protect citizens, and that's essentially exactly what your team is doing, right? And
Right.
so as the demand grows up, I mean, the protection needs to grow also. Is that a good way of looking at it?
I agree.
But you also
you
look
said
at
it perfectly.
for production. So I think I saw something recently that says oil and gas is here, and then medical marijuana is coming in second. So
Yeah.
from a resource standpoint, you know, doing that with 180 people, that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And we're going to keep growing. We still need inspectors in different pockets of the state. We're setting up regional offices, and it's super exciting. Once
Now-
we're fully staffed up,
Yeah.
people will see us out. People will see our inspectors out and know that we are truly keeping an eye on the safety of patients and citizens in general.
And I don't think she's going to bring it up, so I'm going to do it.
Okay.
But what was it, top 20 in the Tulsa world
Oh
of
my
people to
gosh.
watch? Yes. Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was actually top 10, Bonnie, but
Whoa.
yeah.
Oh. No, and like I just think that's so. It tells you a lot about where OMMA is going and the faith people have
Right.
in your leadership. So I'm thankful for that. I really do think that with this, it's like energizing just to see the direction you have for the agency, and more than anything, I'm appreciative of that.
Oh, thank you, Bonnie. It's very exciting. I don't like being the center of attention, honestly. We have a whole lot of people that work really, really hard every day. I wish we could shine the light on all of them. But I'm grateful for the opportunity, honestly. Like, that sounds like such a talking point, but this opportunity is amazing. To get to go in and actually make changes and get things done is
man.
amazing.
Well, and have it a direct impact on citizens. And that's such a cool opportunity in itself, is that you're in a role now to lead an organization into a new frontier, if you will, that has a direct impact on citizens. I just think that is so cool. And the way you're doing it by developing more partnerships, honestly, that's a trend that we're seeing more and more throughout state government. It's the tearing down of those silos and the building up of more relationship partners and leveraging out those resources you have available. So anyways, the way you're doing that is fantastic. And
Just recognizing the human connection. I think that's the piece
Yeah.
of it that I've heard of you repeat over and over. We wanted someone in this agency. We met with the farmers. We met with the producers. And then also we want to be good legislative partners. Like, you've recognized the human element in all of this, and that all connects to the end consumer or the patient. So I'm sure they're seeing a difference.
Well, thank you guys. Your
This is a love
positivity is
fest.
refreshing.
Hey, that's
we
what
get a lot of
do.
people yelling at us, as you can imagine. But so thank you for this positive interaction.
The whole point of this show, and we say it on every episode, is really just to highlight all the positive movement in our state government and that positive direction that is happening to improve services for our citizens. And obviously, your leadership with OMMA and what you guys are doing, it definitely falls into that category. So
She even said they're getting stuff done. So Steve, you heard it here first.
Man,
We're going to loan out
check
the
all
motto.
the boxes. Let's go.
Yeah, this is going to be like statewide branding.
I mean,
It's
it's on
perfect.
point. Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. Well, Adria, thank you so much for coming on the show. But not only just for being here and telling us about what's going on within OMMA, but also just your leadership in the state. What you're doing to improve services to the citizens is not going unnoticed. So thank you very much. I'm telling you,
5 months,
lots of things happen, but also so much happening in the future. Like, it's not just checked a few boxes off and now we're going to ride that out. No, you're pushing forward, which
Absolutely.
I appreciate.
Yeah,
Love that. Well, before we sign off, anything else you wanted to add or shout outs to anybody?
Just absolutely shout out the staff at OMMA. I mean, we just have an amazing staff. We have 180 people, so I don't want to just say particular names, but our licensing department, call center, right now, they are just taking so much responsibility on their shoulders and doing it with a smile on their faces. Our compliance inspectors who are out across the state, they are the true first layer outside of the call center. They're those people that are in person walking into these grow facilities and dispensaries and processors. So as you can imagine, that can be a very, very intimidating job at times. So I sometimes I get just overwhelmed thinking about how grateful I am that there are people that want to do this and they're so passionate about it. They choose to make career changes to come be compliance inspectors at OMMA. We've had several folks make career changes from law enforcement, education, and I'm forgetting a lot of other industries, but we've brought in people that are just so excited to be part of this. And I feel grateful. We have some great people.
Y'all are the real MVPs.
Right on. Well, thank you again for coming on the show, Adria.
Thank you.
We'll have you back on soon, get you maybe another update here in the next few months of what the latest updates are. I think we just, as you mentioned earlier, just launched a new licensing system. Maybe we'll get an update on that. Maybe other new initiatives you guys are working on. So
Sure.
It's going to be a busy session for everybody, so just get ready.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much again for tuning in to the show here, for listening, for all the updates that Adria is leading over at OMMA. Be sure to like and share this video. Keep an eye out for all the new content that OMMA is actually producing, a new podcast, correct?
We actually have a video series on our social media, and it's called High Points.
We'll link that in the comments below.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, thank you again for coming on the show. And I guess with that, we'll see you on the next episode of the GSD Podcast. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.